Let's switch gears, Mr. Attorney General. I know you've been on this program talking in the past about how you would like to cut off federal funds to sanctuary cities. You tried to do it earlier. I know you were, I think there was a court in the great state of Illinois that said, no, you can't do that. Now you're giving the sanctuary cities one last chance to go ahead and start enforcing the law. Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, we'd like to not have a problem. We'd like for them to get every grant that comes out of the Department of Justice because we'd like for them to be in cooperation with federal officers. But these cities have passed laws and regulations in their cities requiring their police officers not to spend one dime or any of their time while on duty to communicate with the federal officers to find out the immigration status of a person they arrested, let's say, for drug dealing. Not even asked. They're prohibited from doing that. They're also prohibited from telling the federal officers that they have somebody that's been convicted of a serious crime that's due to be deported. They won't tell them that they have them, so they're not able, the feds are not able to deport them. This undermines relationships that are in an astounding way.
And what sort of money are you talking about cutting off? The law enforcement grants or all federal funds?
Just the law enforcement grants. It's not lawful to, let's say, cut off Medicare funds or highway funds in that amount. But there are a number of law enforcement grants we don't think should be given to jurisdictions that explicitly reject cooperation with our federal officers. It's just unbelievable to me that we would have that. It means that these individuals who should be removed from the city, these criminals, are able to be released back into that community.
Do you think there's a possibility any of these sanctuary cities are going to say, you know what, the Attorney General's right, let's start enforcing the law?
Well, yes. In fact, Miami-Dade is met, and we've worked. They've been approved. Milwaukee has worked with us, and they're approved. Las Vegas was on a list, and we find that they're in agreement. So, yes, a number of cities are reviewing their situation and will not be on a list of cities that are not cooperating.
All right. The Attorney General of the United States of America, Jeff Sessions, thank you very much for joining us live. The showdown over sanctuary cities continues. The Department of Justice issuing a last chance warning to these jurisdictions. Comply with the law or risk losing millions of dollars in federal dough.
Here to react to this is former DOJ official J. Christian Adams, who now works at the Public Interest Legal Foundation. Great to see you.
Morning.
Good morning. What's your reaction to this?
This is a good thing. Jeff Sessions should be applauded for this tough stance against lawlessness. Sanctuary cities are havens of lawlessness where illegal aliens and corrupt politicians are not doing anything about the illegal aliens, and they're colluding with them to not cooperate with federal authorities when they catch them. That's against federal law, and Jeff Sessions is right to say you're not going to get federal money if you're not going to follow federal law.
Jay Christian, explain to me, and our viewers get it, if something is against the law, it's just against the law, and you've got to cooperate with the feds. But how have they gotten away with it so long?
Well, because Barack Obama was president and Eric Holder was the attorney general, and they allowed it to happen, and they didn't enforce federal law because they agreed with the policies. Steve, this is all about politics. Democrats run these cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, New Orleans, the places that are sanctuary cities and counties. They like these policies because it helps them win elections. Don't forget, illegal aliens' children will be eligible to vote in 18 years, but it's worse than that, Steve, because illegal aliens and aliens are getting on the voter rolls in places like Philadelphia. We have found alien registrations in Philadelphia. They are voting, so it helps Democrats win elections to have sanctuary cities.
How do they get to vote? How is that even fair?
Well, look at Pennsylvania. There's a huge scandal right now in Pennsylvania that we originally found a year ago that aliens were on the rolls in Philadelphia, because all you have to do is mark a box that says you're a citizen. You can lie. It's an honor system all around the country. So that's how aliens are getting on the voter rolls. But in Philadelphia, it's worse because some of them actually marked no, that they weren't a citizen, but Philadelphia election officials registered them anyhow.
Well, let's see. So Jeff Sessions is going to give them the last chance. My question to you, Jake Christian, is, all right, for these 5 or so jurisdictions, big sanctuary cities, What is the possibility they're actually going to go, you know what, you're right, we're going to start following the law?
Well, if you know anything about Democrats, they're addicted to federal dollars. So my hope is that they will say, you know what, the millions of dollars that people in Iowa and Wisconsin and South Dakota are paying to politicians in Philadelphia, the politicians in Philadelphia are going to say, you know what, we want millions of dollars. But you never know. Ideology runs pretty deep in these places, and I would also not be surprised if they say, well, it's worth it for us to have all of these aliens in this city because we want a permanent transformation politically to take place there.
The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, did release this statement. He said, I urge all jurisdictions found to be out of compliance in this preliminary review to reconsider their policies that undermine the safety of their residents. What's your reaction?
It needs to go beyond these 5 places. There's sanctuary cities all over the country. Essex County, New Jersey, we found more aliens on the rolls there. These are sanctuary counties right outside New York City, where entire counties are sanctuaries to illegal aliens. The policy that Jeff Sessions is doing is great, but it needs to go beyond these 5 places. You know,
when we did hear about how they, a couple of months ago, where they were talking about how jurisdictions might lose these grants. It was just, I think it was $2 million in Chicago alone. But you say, forget about that. Cut off all the federal funds.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? But the immediate way they can solve this, of course, is the law enforcement grants. Look, the federal law says if you want federal money, you have to cooperate with immigration authorities. And so this is the easiest money to cut off. But frankly, Congress ought to look at something far more effective because most of these big cities, they couldn't survive without federal handouts.
A Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean.